अब छोलिया हो या लोबिया, सफेद चने या काले चने,
सब कुछ मजेदार बने।
Ladies and gentlemen, this week has also been a game changer in terms of India's national defense mindset, from the landmark notification of absolutely brand new rules for the Unified Military Command to India's clear green flag to advance development of its indigenous fifth generation fighter jet AMCA. Now, the defense minister is committing 10% increase in the R&D budget of DRDO. Ladies and gentlemen, there's a renewed energy to invest in our own defense capabilities after Operation Sindoor, something I believe is a very necessary booster shot at these times.
और पाकिस्तान समझ ले 3 बार घर में घुस करके मारा है। हम शक्ति को पूजने वाले लोग, हम महिषासुर मर्दिनी को पूजते हैं। बंगाल टाइगर की इस धरती से 140 करोड़ भारतीयों का ऐलान है। ऑपरेशन सिंदूर अभी खत्म नहीं हुआ है।
Days after the success of Operation Sindoor, Pakistan is slowly waking up to the realizations of what really hit them.
Before that hour reached, India again launched missile attacks, BrahMos, and hit Pakistan's various provinces, including airport in Rawalpindi and other places.
India's message is clear. Operation Sindoor is not over. And India is moving faster than ever to enhance its defense capabilities through major revamps and indigenization. From BrahMos to now its new 5th generation fighter aircraft. The centre notified the rules under the Inter-Services Organizations Act 2023 to enhance greater jointness and command efficiency in the armed forces, a significant development since Operation Sindoor.
We need to invest more in R&D.
Not just that. Today, the DRDO chief also outlined how India is going to push further on the research and development front unlike ever before.
Over the next 5 years, we need to invest more in R&D. Today, we invest about 5% of our defense budget on R&D. The Honorable Raksha Mantri has promised us that over the next 5 years, this will increase to 10% of the defense budget gradually.
In a historic milestone in India's aspirations to develop its indigenous 5th generation stealth aircraft under the Advanced Medium Combat Aircraft project, the government is moving with lightning speed.
आत्मनिर्भरता को बढ़ावा देने के लिए अभी 2 दिन पहले AMCA प्रोजेक्ट को, जो 5th जनरेशन फाइटर एयरक्राफ्ट भारत में ही बनाने का प्रोजेक्ट है, उसको आगे बढ़ाने की एग्जीक्यूशन मॉडल को मंजूरी दे दी है। ये एक बहुत ही बोल्ड और डिसाइसिव डिसीजन लिया गया है, जो भारत की डिफेंस कैपेबिलिटीज को मजबूती प्रदान करने के साथ साथ इस देश में एरोस्पेस सेक्टर को एक डेप्थ और एक नई हाइट प्रदान करेगा। एमका प्रोजेक्ट के अंतर्गत आज 5 प्रोटोटाइप डेवलप करने की योजना है, जिसका बाद में सीरीज प्रोडक्शन होगा।
India's Kaveri jet engine, a long-stalled project initially envisaged for the light combat aircraft Thejas, is also making its own strides. While undergoing tests in Russia, reports indicate that Kaveri engine could soon clear its first takeoff with integration in India's indigenously developed Ghatak stealth drones.
This war was won by a whole-of-nation approach. The same approach needs to continue while talking about, empowering the defense forces. Actually, it is not just whole-of-nation approach. We have to be whole-of-nation mission mode, if I can call it, to make sure that we accelerate and produce results.
The success of Operation Sindoor has rejuvenated India's resolve for Atmanirbharta. Will this booster shot prove to be an absolute game changer for the Indian Armed Forces?
We have General Raj Shukla, General G.D. Bakshi and Sushant Sareen for this very important discussion, which we have seen. And I want to start with you, General Shukla. Can you hear me, sir? We've seen a renewed interest in issues concerning defense production, defense preparedness, which is extremely good over the last 1 month, especially since the unfortunate terrorist attack in Pahalgam. But people don't understand exactly what is happening. To start with, could you explain to us, General Raj Shukla, that when the government notifies rules under the Inter-Services Organizations Command, Control and Discipline Act 2023, signaling its intent to fast-track setting up of Joint Services Command, which is part of a theatization drive. Now, this is all very technical language. For a non-technical person who does not have deep knowledge of defense lingo, what are we doing now? A, should we have done this earlier? B, and how quickly can we make the change and for what reason? Can you explain this, the big news that came out yesterday?
Yeah, so Arnab, it is really wonderful news, and let me just briefly put it in perspective, or try to put it in perspective. You see, when this government came to power 2014, we saw the initiation of the boldest, most wide-ranging national security reform since independence. And I say this with complete responsibility. It is a virtual national security makeover. The CDS DMA, you know, that in substance, it's even more powerful than the American Goldwater Nichols. Atmanirbharta in defense, these new normals in our security outlook, defense coming out of the shadows of foreign policy. Now, for the last 10 years, we have seen great steps being taken, but, you know, haltingly. Some have run into trouble. Now, what has happened with Op Sindoor, now that it has, you know, once again, what I say, it has reaffirmed the utility of force. If you couple this with the government's announcement of defense reforms this year to broaden, deepen and accelerate reforms. And the most important thing is this buoyant interest in national security. Television platforms, society, colleges, universities. This is just the moment to accelerate that national security makeover. And I'm very confident that if we take some meaningful steps, India will become a defense powerhouse in the next decade or so. Now, let me just make 2 points. You asked about theatre commands. You know, what you said is about command and control, but that's just baby steps. What we really need to do, you know, if you take this whole jointness integration piece, while we have done well, where are we actually? We are only at that state in the United States of America which prevailed in 1949 when they announced a permanent chairman, Joint Chiefs. That's all we have. Then the Americans went through, you know, the fiasco of Iran. General Bakshi is the best person to tell us about that. Gulf War I, when you saw the beginning of network-centric warfare. Gulf War II, when you saw true integration. You know, a tank commander calling for the fire of F-16. And now they are into cross-pollination, civil-military fusion. So CDS DMA is a powerful step, but just the beginning. We should now have integrated theatre commands. Let me tell you what that will do. If you have one commander looking at the Western theatre, he should look at Pakistan, Afghanistan, Iran, Turkey, the whole set of threats. And next time around, we have to carry out a terror response. We should be at such a high state of lethality and operational readiness that if a terror attack is launched by 2 o'clock in the afternoon, and we have reasonable evidence that it is the Pakistanis, by 8 o'clock under the aegis of this Western theatre commander, the attack must go. Next time, we must not take out the brother-in-laws of Masood Azhar, but Masood Azhar himself. Integrated theatre commanders will have a quasi-diplomatic visage. They'll look at Bangladesh, Myanmar, and integrate the force diplomacy piece. The most important thing in integrated theatre commands, in fact, in my view, the highest priority, even before the Western theatre, the maritime and the Eastern theatres, is space and cyber. Space and cyber need to be given combatant command status. And just 30 seconds more, Atmanirbharta in defense, for the first time in years, we've had startups, we have had private sector. AMCA being opened out to the private sector is such brilliant news, Arnab. If we let our startups, there are so many of them in Bangalore, Hyderabad, if we give them orders, you see what will happen to India. They will give you your capacities in the LEO. They will give you capacities in loiter. And we will truly become this defense powerhouse, a dream that I have nursed since the 1982 when I was commissioned, into the Indian Military Academy. So it's a great moment, but we have to take some very deep, meaningful, substantive steps.
Absolutely, sir. Before I go to General Bakshi, Sushant Sareen, this layman question, all of this is happening, we're very happy, very, very happy about all the news and the breaking news that's coming in the last 10 days. But why now? Did we need Pahalgam? Did we need Operation Sindoor to accelerate things? Is this an acknowledgement at some level that we have perhaps dragged our feet, or our bureaucracy has dragged its feet on the urgency, on the strategic imperative that we need for our air superiority specifically, because the AMCA project has been announced now. Why not say 3 years earlier, 4 years earlier, and how long will it take? Sushant.
We are talking about the AMCA project. We haven't even, as the Air Chief Marshal very correctly says, we haven't even delivered on the Tejas MK1A. So there are serious problems in, we might be having the right intentions, but intentions are nothing if you can't deliver on those intentions. And on that, I think we have lacked. But on your main question, Arnab, part of the reason is that I suspect that one thing which has sunk in everybody's head is the importance of military modernization. That wars of the future are not just going to be fought by infantry officers or by cavalry. Wars of the futures are going to be fought by modern military means of the sorts we saw a very small example this time around. That does not obviate the need for having foot soldiers, for having artillery, for having cavalry. You need all those fighting arms. But you also need to modernize at a furious pace because your enemies are doing the same thing. So I think there is also a recognition that modernization works, one. Secondly, I think what has happened is that there is this, there are moments in history of every nation when suddenly the nation starts waking up. And I think General Shukla put it quite aptly. And this is a moment like that. We can either fritter it away, which we have done sometimes in the past as well, or we can grab this moment. If you depend only for technology on DRDO or on government institutions, I'm afraid you are going to get nowhere. You need to rope in the private sector, which I think we are now starting to do. You need to start trusting the private sector. Sure, have your security measures taken, have all of that, but trust them. There are any number of, and General Shukla knows of the persons I'm talking about, young people, startups, who have done nothing but gone from one government office to another government office to a third government office to a fourth government office. And this is despite the fact that at the top levels, they've been given all kinds of assurances. Now, what is wrong with this goddamn bureaucracy of ours, which has any number of IIT educated engineers who are IAS officers and at various other levels, and yet you are not able to push things through? You don't understand the importance of new technologies coming in. These young people, 27, 30-year-old people who are coming out with fabulous new technologies, great new ideas, rather than hand-holding them, encouraging them, we are not doing that. So I think we need to look. ISRO has a model. Okay, maybe not the perfect model, but ISRO has a model where they have gotten in touch with young startups who have been providing ISRO with cutting-edge technology. Why can't the same damn thing be done in the case of the defense industries? I think there is a lot which can be done, and can be done a lot faster than, this glacial pace that we are so accustomed to moving. It can be done. But
Yes.
somebody needs to start tracking the
Yeah,
way.
I go to General Bakshi on that. See, General Bakshi, we have to seize the opportunity of this national awakening that has happened. So, one thing I'm always concerned about, in 2007, we put a request for proposal for some hundreds of this 114 medium multi-role combat aircraft, MMRCA. 2007, sir. 2007. We haven't completed this till now. And we have 30 to 32 fighter squadrons. We have a sanctioned strength of 42 squadrons. And we are still fighting with Mirages. We are fighting with planes that have their date of origin in the early 1970s. So, I don't understand we have great Air Force officers, a fantastic Air Force. Do we not have the money? Do we not have the will? Now, these AMCAs, I want to be clear, if we start delivering, they'll get delivered in 2035. It's not going to happen overnight. So, but wars will not wait. Operation Sindoor is on, so there's a great urgency between now and the next few months, sir. What should we do, sir? What should we do?
Look, Arnab, that is exactly the point veterans have been, losing sleep over. Why are we moving at this glacial pace? You just outlined the aspect of the fighter deal of the century, which was supposed to have been initiated in 2007. We had that entire run through of testing various types of aircraft. Finally, we selected on the Rafale, and then there was that big problem that in the manufacturing of the Rafale in India, the Congress government had said we don't have any money to pursue this deal, and it was locked up and put in cold storage. You can't treat your defense in this cavalier manner, man. The simple fact of the matter is that thereafter we have gotten in for 36 Rafales, right? And a sanction strength of 42, you are down to 30. For cosmetic purpose, we keep saying 31 as if that makes one hell of a difference. Thank God for the technology, indigenous technology that came in via the NAVIC series of satellites, which cover 3,000 to 4,000 kilometers either side of our international borders and our coastlines. They do away with the curvature of the earth. They have given us pinpoint 1 meter CEP accuracy, both for offensive systems, defensive systems. We have survived this war because of that silent revolution. But I totally agree with my other colleagues that unless you privatize, look, I'm very sorry, but public sector organizations they pay peanuts. You pay peanuts, you'll get monkeys, right? It is the private sector that can hire the best talent at whatever cost is required. They don't have to worry whether the pay of one scientist crosses the pay of the cabinet secretary, which can't happen in the bureaucracy. You get the best from wherever it is required. Look at some of the success stories, Arnab. Bharat Kalyani Forge, the ATAGS, Advanced Towed Artillery Gun System, right? 2010, 2011, this project was started. Today it has delivered, But look at our own bureaucracy, including the military bureaucracy. We have perfected a gun which is better than the American equivalent gun. The American gun fires to 45 kilometers, we fire to 48, right? That fires 3 rounds per minute, we fire 5 rounds per minute. And yet we were told this is too heavy. Look, if the Vajra can operate in Ladakh and in the Sikkim plateau, I don't see why a 21-ton gun, which has now been reduced to 19, can't function there. In any case, it has gone there and it has proved itself. You know, so what I just finished. What I'm trying to say is, you know what has happened? We, after all this development, we said we'll only go in for 310. We needed 1800 of such guns. Right? We want another gun which is lighter weight. Are we looking for a model competition where you are looking for anorexic
Sir,
models?
I have
you don't have the time.
No, I think we don't have the time. And if it is a question of money, I have a radical thought here. 140 crore Indians, let's say not all of them. If 100 crore Indians were to contribute 1,000 rupees each, or if 100 crore Indians were to contribute 10,000 rupees each, you would have 140, at least 14 lakh crores. You can increase your defense budget for 1 year by 20%, not just 5% or 6%, in order to make the purchases that you need. So indigenization will come, but we need all of this now. I think the point I take from all of your three comments is that we don't need to be self-congratulatory. We need to increase the pace, and we need to do it now. I thank you very much for your fantastic comments on that. And ladies and gentlemen, let's not be self-congratulatory. Let's realize the challenges and work towards it. But at 9 p.m. tonight, when Rahul Gandhi's right-hand man makes a direct or indirect comparison between terrorists on the one side and the all-party delegations pushing India's line across the world, then I think it's totally unpardonable. When I'm back.
Time for a quick breather. Arnab will be right back with
आधे बाउल दही में 4 चम्मच MDH चटनी पुदीना मसाला डाला, स्टर करो, पुदीना चटनी तैयार। MDH चटनी पुदीना मसाला।